Hey, welcome back to the Better Fitness Proof podcast. I am joined today by one of my team members, Molly Jansco. Molly, can you say hi to everybody and introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I started here in January. Yep. And I graduated from DeSales University during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And then I worked somewhere else for a little while, and then luckily I found BentOnBetter.
Yay, woo-hoo. We're so lucky to have you. And you were also an athlete.
Yes. Played college basketball at DeSales all 4 years.
All 4 years. So what was tell me some big highlights from that career.
So 3 out of my 4 years, we made it to the NCAA tournament. And then we won our MAC championship, so our conference championship, my last 2 years. And they actually won this previous year, which is really cool, too. They're keeping the streak going.
Right on. And what was your position?
So my first 2 years, I was power forward. And then my last 2 years, I was center. And my senior year, I was the only senior and only captain. So there's a lot going on that year.
Well earned, well deserved, playing the whole time and getting to the captain status.
Pressure's on.
It's good. Well, it carries on. And so today we're here to talk about not only you as an athlete, but what you've learned as an athlete and how we've seen it now dealing with athletes. So as a coach, dealing with athletes and just coming off of our powerful program, right? We just finished that program. It was wonderful. Make sure you check out our social media platforms. If you're listening to this on any sort of podcast platform, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can check out our social media. Just go to Instagram/BentOnBetter or go to Facebook.com/BentOnBetter, and you can see all the different things we talked about with our powerful program. But Molly was one of the head coaches for that program. And so Molly, working with those girls, those young girls, 11 to 16-year-old girls, like what were some of the things that you guys were coming across and what were you finding out about these young girls in this program?
So it's crazy because all 3 of the head coaches had such different backgrounds. And that's what we wanted because we knew a lot of girls now come from a lot of different backgrounds. One of the things we came off like the most was confidence. So they all had individual things that they wanted to work on, more like sports specific or personally, but it all revolved around confidence in everyday life, in sport, in school. And it's something that the 3 of us we came across ended up struggling with at some point in time, and it was cool to relate that back to all of them. So that was our main goal, was to give them a little bit just so that they're able to find a little bit of confidence throughout their life.
Yeah. And so with all the girls coming through and so many different backgrounds, I mean, you and Alicia and Lynn, all with your own backgrounds, how did that translate during the program with from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, day 4, and having them move on? What were some of the things you saw?
So day 1, everyone was a little nervous. I mean, we were even a little nervous too because we're like, we get to meet all these girls, and oh my gosh, they are way cooler than I ever was. Like some of the things that they're interested in, and it seemed like they were a little bit shy to tell us about it, which was crazy to me because I'm like, that's so cool. Like you need to highlight that. I want to know all those things. But looking back at like things that I experienced, and even Alicia and Lynn, some of the things that we were a little bit shy about until we realized how cool it was when we were older. Like we have some girls who do archery. We had competitive rollerblading, things and like competitive dancing. Everybody had something unique about them, and that's what you want to highlight. You don't want to hide those things. It's so cool.
Yeah. So, and I know that you guys worked on your own stories as part of the program to be a bit of an icebreaker, but also for breakthrough moments for the girls to realize that they're not alone in this journey, that people who are such huge successful people like you and like Alicia and like Lynn, who are these powerful authority figures like in the fitness industry, especially as women who are doing it. You guys shared your stories. So can you expose yourself? Tell me a little bit about your story. What was the story that you shared with the girls, and take me through like everything, all the little details. I want to hear about it.
Okay. So my story, I only got through part of it. But my story, I did middle school and high school. So in middle school, I didn't have a phone yet. And we found out that a lot of girls end up getting that social media aspect and how social media affects their life. So I started off like, in middle school, I was very shy, and that's when it first hit me that maybe I'm not as confident as I should be, and like especially with relationships and stuff. So little details of middle school Molly. She had a boyfriend, and he was a foot shorter than me, like actual foot.
But how tall were you in middle school?
I was 5'5". Like he was short, 5'6".
Whoa! Hold on. How tall were you in middle school?
That's what I'm 5'6".
You were 5'6" at this time. Okay, wow.
I think like
Okay.
6th grade. Maybe.
I'm like 5'5".
Yeah.
Well, not like I am right now, currently 5'5". So, how tall was this boy?
He was 4'6".
Wow!
Yeah,
Holy moly.
like he was little.
He was little.
But that's like, I didn't realize that was a thing. So the stereotype that like a woman has to be shorter than a male or like their boyfriend or significant other, that was one of the things that hit me the hardest, because I didn't realize it in elementary school until I went to middle school and got made fun of. So that was one of the things. Then I was self-conscious about my height, and we had a few girls there that are very tall for their age. And I'm like, guys, you're going to want to make sure you're confident about it then. Because like even posture wise, I know you came in and talked to us about posture, and that's one of the things that I still struggle with. But shoulders back, like chest up, head up, keep yourself proud, because it comes off better that way. You come off confident versus like hiding. And that's where after that, then social anxiety started to hit me a little bit, especially with an elementary school. Our elementary schools were split up. So there was a north school and then a south school.
Okay.
South school was much smaller. So when we went to middle school, we all ended up meeting each other for the first time. So I didn't know more than half of my grade until I was in 7th grade, until I was in 7th grade. So social anxiety hit me a little bit harder, but the way I kind of dealt with that was finding things that I was mostly interested in. So I tried a bunch of things, like band, I played the trombone, bell choir, I did that. And one of my best friends I met through bell choir.
Wow.
Did I stick with bell choir? I did not, because I realized I didn't like it as much once I got older, but it was a way that I got to meet new people, and through sports, athletics, and a couple clubs. So like some art clubs, and that's how I met most of my like best friends. So putting yourself out there and trying new things and not being afraid of it, and then you kind of find what you're interested in. And then as I went into high school, I figured out what I was mostly passionate about, and I stuck with that. So sports, so I played soccer, basketball, and I ran track. So those were the things that gave me the most confidence. I was still very shy and very kind of like awkward. I kind of hid from everybody. But in sports, I was like, nope, that's my thing. I'm going to be confident with that. And you could see it on the court. Everyone's like, you're a totally different person on the court versus after. Like, you demand things, and that wasn't me normally. So I was just trying to relate that to some of the girls. Like, find what you're confident in and use that to boost your confidence outside of that activity, which was really cool. But social media also came into play my senior year, or throughout high school. And that hit hard. So like nutrition wise, I've always been interested in nutrition and fitness. And now you see a lot of people posting, even on TikTok, Instagram Reels. I was on YouTube looking this stuff up at the time. But like the what I eat in a day things and the workouts that they do. And it's for someone who's 5'1", like 120 pounds. And I'd follow it because I didn't know any better. So then I was under eating, overtraining, not resting enough because I did all those sports. And it caught up to me my senior year for a soccer district championship game. I got hurt because I was malnourished. So I sprained my ankle and ended up breaking my fibula.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't play in that last game, which was a huge bummer. And that was also the time of my senior trip. So I was in a boot and a cast, like hobbling around Disney World. But overall, like I learned a lot, learned the most from that experience. Like, all right, this is not the way it's supposed to be. I'm tired all the time. I'm hungry all the time. And I was restricting myself from eating things because I wanted to look like the 5'1", 120 pound girl, which I'm never going to be that. I'm a foot taller than that. So I'm 6'1", and I don't even know how much I weigh really anymore. So, but making sure you're nourished enough to be confident and be happy, because I was not happy. So healthy, happy, those were my main goals going into college, but I didn't get to the college story with the girls yet. So
well, let's get to the college story, because they're going to be able to listen in hopefully, and we'll send this out to all the parents so they can hear. But I want to hear this story. I want to hear about Molly and the story. So keep it going, please. Okay.
All right. So college, I committed to DeSales University my senior year of high school and got there. And in high school, you're like, all right, you're like one of the more competitive players in high school. You get to just like college and everybody is as good as you and better. So that hit me a little harder, and then that took away a little bit of the confidence because I knew, all right, I'm not going to be the star player. I'm a freshman. We had a girl who was amazing. Her name was Morgan, if you guys want to look her up. But she was a senior when I was a freshman. She was demanded the ball in the post, and of course I had to try and guard her. I was like, Morgan, I'm sorry. The only way that I'm going to be able to make you better is if I foul you in practice. And I told her that up front. I was like, you get fouled all the time in games. I can't really guard you. But then I did that in the beginning. But then I found my way. You find your certain way of the game. So you can't conform all the time to what other people do. Like, you're your own player. You're your own person. And that took me until my senior year to figure out that I was, like, you're faster than other post players because I wasn't as, like, big or strong at the time. So you kind of have to conform to what your team needs. And it took me a while to figure that out, but I finally did. But social anxiety, again, came up in college, and like the health and fitness thing too, not eating enough just because I was so stressed about school and having time for practice and to do everything and trying to meet new people because I went there not knowing anybody. I played with 2 of the girls in AAU, but we weren't even on the same team. So no one from my high school had gone there before me. There was one other girl who went there, but she went back home after the first semester, so I knew nobody. So it was nice to be a part of a team and, again, find, like, my niche because I was able to meet people that way. So through sports, I was able to meet other sports teams, and our coach does a lot of community service, so getting integrated in the community at DeSales and getting to know people in my major helped me a lot, but there was a lot of mental things that I had to struggle with throughout college.
Yeah, and I didn't know all that about you, but the pressures from social media and from the world around you led to an injury in high school, led to this not hitting your full potential in your younger years in college until when was that moment where you realized you could make that next step, take the next step, that you don't have to depend on everything else or everyone else or social media?
So I waited until my senior year to figure it out. And it was because I knew I had to step up as a leader on our team because we originally were supposed to have 2 captains and then the other co-captain ended up quitting. So I was by myself, and my coach, he was like, we can either find somebody else or you can do it on your own. I was like, all right, I'm going to try it. Because talking to some of other teammates, we weren't sure who would fit that other role and how it would affect everybody else. And since I was the eldest, it was my role. And I had to figure it out that way and knowing that I had them behind my back. So at first I was a little nervous, and they can tell. They're like, Molly, like, you got this. And knowing that you have a support team and other people, surround yourself with the right people is what helped me through it. And it gave me confidence, and I was able to kind of let go of that and focus on my game and focus on leading by example because I wasn't always the most vocal leader. So that was kind of, I led by example, which ended up working out. And then I started to get my voice halfway through the season, and other girls ended up stepping up. So I learned a lot that year.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, everything was condensed from middle school to high school to college. And then that final year was like everything you had looked at. What was that moment? Like, what was it that made you that click? What was that catalyst?
I think we had like one situation in the beginning of the year where some of the girls weren't getting along, and I had to pull them both aside and talk to them. And I think solving that problem was like, all right, I solved that one, I can solve all the other ones. And being that mediator between coaches and players too, that was the biggest role because there were some disagreements, but trying to ease some of that stress for the players, because a lot of our players and myself had like anxiety before games, so getting so nervous to perform to perfection because we didn't want to get taken out of the game, so that was tough for us. But being able to be that support system, like not being afraid to maybe like run over in the middle of a game and like give somebody a high five, or just be that, like, you didn't get it that time, but we got it now. And knowing that there's other people when I knew that I had people behind my back, and being that person to be behind their back gave everybody else a little bit more confidence.
Yeah. So how did that carry over into the Powerful program with talking to the girls? What were some things that, from learning from your own experience, that you were able to carry over into that workshop that we did for those past 4 days?
So the thing that we talked about a lot, and Alicia and Lynn both touched on this too, was surrounding yourself with the right people. So knowing that you have people to support you and you'll support them, knowing that it's an equal balance between the two. And that's what got me through a lot of tough times. So finding the people that you're comfortable to be around, to be you. And then the other thing that resonated with me most was, if you're not confident in that moment, like, fake it till you make it. And I still do that today. So you gotta fake your confidence, and people will believe you. And then you become what you're practicing every single day, and it works out. And then you become a little bit more confident every time, and other people notice it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you build your confidence by simply the little things of taking on the external forces in a good way, in that way, mm-hmm. and building your own confidence from those external forces versus what a lot of girls do. I mean, young boys do, and girls, I'm specifically the young girls who we worked with, you're so many pressures, social pressures and social media pressures and family and friends around you, because they also have those same pressures, and news and feed, like, everything feeds into us. We have like over 1,000 pieces of stimulant that comes into us on a daily basis. And it's up to us to control those stimulants, to make sure that we're taking in the right information and that we're processing it correctly and that we're doing everything that's going to help us along. So I love that. Like, surrounding yourself with the right people. That's so big. So, I mean, I have so many other questions I want to bring up, but I know that, like, we have to make sure we stay on point here. So what would you say? Why don't we do this? Tell me some of the biggest hurdles other than confidence, like, just rattle them off. The other girls had said they were big confidence or big challenges for them, and then if we can loop back around to the winning points or the points that the takeaways from those challenges.
Okay, so a lot of girls, one of them was based off of looks. So they were all anonymous, so we don't know who said what, but one of the slips said, let's explain
what we did.
Okay.
Real briefly.
Okay, so we had each of them do homework for stereotype or one thing that they struggled with the most. We had them write down the one that they personally struggled with the most. They wrote it down on a slip, we put it in a bag, scrambled them all up, so nobody knew who said what. And then we read them all out loud, and each girl gave, I think it was 5 pieces of advice to one of the numbers. So we numbered all of the things that everybody struggled with, put it on a whiteboard, and everybody gave advice for those. And we put them in a little jar, and they took them home.
Cool.
So some of the things that they struggled with the most. One of them was based off of looks. So this one said, so I'm a little bit more muscular, so people assume that I'm gay or I'm a lesbian or etc. Another one was ways to find serotonin. So happy hormone. So ways to find happiness in your life. A few others, like upper body strength, and how a lot of times men always say, like, oh, they're stronger than women, or women aren't as fast as men, or not good at sports was another one of them. I was like, go look at the Olympics or any sport, really. And I think those are the major points that came up the most.
Yeah. And what were some of the big takeaways from those points?
Big takeaways, I think, which resonated with people the most is, if they don't have confidence in you, like, have confidence in yourself. So you kind of have to prove them wrong. So one example was I'm not going to say any names, but one of the girls, she was in gym class and all the guys played basketball, but she wanted to play basketball too. And she would be over there shooting around, and everyone would be like, oh, I'm like, she can't play. All the guys would be like, no, she can't play. So she'd always pick the basket farthest away from all of them. And she was by herself shooting around. And one day, I guess one of the guys said something, and she was fed up. So she walked herself over to one of the closest baskets to the guys, and she's like, I stepped back, like, past the 3-point line, close to, like, half court, and I threw up a shot, and it went in, and everybody cheered for her. Guys, all the other girls. I was like, that's the perfect example. You had confidence in your abilities. You walked yourself over there, and you proved them wrong. And I think that was a big takeaway, and that hit with a lot of the other girls. That, all right, you just have to believe in yourself, and you have like a few other people who believe in you, but they're like, I don't know. But she had enough confidence in herself to walk over there and do it and prove them wrong.
I love it. And it's, who was it? I think it was Ford. I think like Henry Ford said this. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Mm-hmm. So no matter what, you're right. Yep. So you might as well just tell yourself you can in every aspect of life, whether it's with sports, whether it's with fitness, whether it's with nutrition, whether it's with sleep, whether it's with money, what anything in life. What you say to yourself is what you will end up doing and what you will end up being. So surrounding yourself with the right people is number one. Mm-hmm. And then putting yourself in the right environment is number two. And then telling yourself only speak to yourself in a way you would speak to your kids if you have kids. Mm-hmm. And so for the adults listening, like you would never tell your son or daughter, you never tell your kids, like you suck at that. Like you should not, like don't do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever shoot on that basket with the other boys over there. You go over to that basket. And you would never say that. You would never say, I would never say that to my kids. Nope. I tell them everything, whatever it is. I always tell them, you can. Yes, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. Unless it's like something that's going to hurt their health or their body, bring them harm. But I'm always like, yep, go ahead. Go for it. Yeah, you can do it. Go ahead. When they're tired, when they're like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
My dad always said, can't means won't.
Yeah.
And while I hate that saying so much now, yes. I catch myself saying it to other people because it's true. If you think you can't, then you're not going to do it. But
yes, we say that all the time with our adults. Mm-hmm. When they say, I can't do that, I say, well, when you say you can't, you won't. So you're not going to. Okay, if you can't, you won't. So let's just give up right now and let's move on. And they usually turn right back around and give it a try. Man, okay. And they end up trying it and they end up succeeding. They're like, oh, I know it. I'm like, I know you could do it. That's right. Yeah. Like you don't have to believe in yourself in that moment, but you can believe that I believe in you. You can believe that Coach Molly believes in you, or that Coach Alicia, or Nick, or Lynn, any one of us. If we believe in you enough, and you just need to believe that we believe in you. You don't have to believe in yourself, but tell yourself that you can. Mm-hmm. Whether you believe it or not. Fake it until you make it, right?
Fake it until you make it.
Yes, wrapping it back around. So, Molly, I'm going to do a little quick commercial. And then, in the meantime, I want you to think about something that you would say to your younger self if you had the moment to say it to your younger self when you were going through those struggles with everything, with height, with eating, with working out, all that different stuff. What would you say to that person so that you could have made the steps and changes that you've made now? Okay, think about that. Okay. In the meantime, if you're checking us out on YouTube, make sure you swing by our YouTube channel, click the subscribe button so you get the alerts when these next podcasts come out. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video. And if you really enjoyed it, or if you want to leave us some comments and some feedback about your most favorite parts of this conversation, leave it in the comment section. If you're listening to this on any podcasting platform, swing by that podcasting platform, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us so much so we can reach more people, so we can change more lives, and just so that we know you like us. If you don't, send me an email. Let me know. I want to know how we can improve things. You can send me an email at matt@BentOnBetter.com. And with that, Molly.
That's so much time to think about it.
Yeah. So bring it all back around. Let's end this on a power note.
All right. So what I would tell younger Molly would be, or younger anybody else.
Younger Molly, younger everybody.
Be proud of who you are. Don't try to be anybody else. Be you, because you is awesome. And be confident in it. Don't let anybody tell you can't, because you can, no matter what it is. So be proud of who you are. That's what I would tell myself.
Love it. Love it. Love ending on that positive note. Molly, you're the bomb. Bomb.com. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll catch you next time. Peace.